Hey everyone, we're going to call the meeting to order, and starting with the community service section. We have no deputations, presentations, or public meetings today, no unfinished business. If anyone has any disclosure of pecuniary interest at this time, you can let me know, or as we go through the agenda, please notify me. If we have none, I see that Commander Philip Brown is with us today, so I'll ask him if he would come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, everyone. So, in regards to the statistics, first I will refer to the statistics. As you can see from your review, there's no major change except one increase in mischiefs. Now, the result of that was actually two individuals in the pickup truck, multiple occurrences, solved shortly thereafter. So, it's not where there's an abundance of increased mischief. It's been already taken care of on the they were very cooperative in providing the information required. But what I want to also just bring to your attention is just some of the key, I would say, priorities in the near future for the detachment. First, we will look at the electric element, where we'll be. The event is scheduled for the weekend, mid to full weekend. We're in the planning process with the event organizers, and also that's going along quite well. In addition, we're also working with the town to look at security measures, lessons learned, how can we do this better, what we learned from last year. So several items are on the table as part of the comprehensive security plan, which includes the partnering for a review of what we call CEPTA, which is Crime Prevention through Environmental Design. Two officers were qualified to carry out those assessments around the vicinity, and is working with the town towards looking at items such as lighting, making sure we're not creating a permissive environment for criminal activities through providing through poor lighting or other areas which may shield people from actually being observed, or officers from being able to observe some of these activities. So that's being worked on now, and we are quite happy to say it's going along quite well. In addition, there is the plan to install cameras in certain areas within the town, especially around the area, which I believe will have a significant impact in how we police and the capacity post-event to bring timely resolution to ensure we have the deterrence, we have the ability to detect, but we also have the resources to react. So in essence, if we can have those three items synchronized, it definitely will assist us in maintaining the safety of everyone involved. Also, what's before the detachment, we're in the process of drafting our 2017-2019 action plan. That's our strategic plan moving forward to cover off to the end of 2019 for a period of 3 years. In the public consultation phase of that development, we have already two sessions in Springwater. We were in Primo last night, and we will be engaged with the Wasaga Beach population in next week Thursday. There are two sessions at 1,400 hours and 1,900 hours for 2 hours. And this will give an opportunity, first of all, to provide information to the general public on how we did on our last action plan, which concluded 2016, from 2014 to 2016, and from lessons learned, what are some of our priorities, and also solicit input from the general public for discussion. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, to the Commander. I was looking at the Criminal Code and Provincial Statutes Charges laid, and I see for February in 2017, the Highway Traffic Act is way down from 2016. 2016, there was 561, and February was 165. And I just wondered why there was such a big change, that fewer. I know you're doing more on the distracted.
The criminal code traffic,
Criminal Code and Provincial Statute Charges rate.
right?
And under the Highway Traffic Act, you see where I'm at?
Oh, right, so 1,239 to 795.
What's it wrong? Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But for the month of February, it seems way down from the last year. And I don't want to know what the big difference was.
And there are many things which will have an impact. Weather conditions, roads, priorities at the time. So for example, if you have a bad snowstorm, we close roads. So we are focused primarily on public safety because the enforcement is not the priority at the time. So really when we're into the winter months, the environment has a significant impact on where the stats will reflect. The other is some of our stats, for example, as we delve into it, we have a significant increase in distracted driving charges. And the reason, it doesn't mean that there is an increase in individuals who engage in distracted driving. It means we are more capable of putting forward the time towards enforcing distracted driving. To enforce distracted driving, many occasions we use 2 officers for 1 charge because we have to have one who actually observed the offense and the second in a position to stop the vehicle to basically lead a charge. So as a result, we're tying up 2 officers for that 1 charge. So it has a significant impact in where our officers are. So those are some of the reasons for it.
So just a quick comment, with all due respect, I'm just wondering, it looks like in February we had more snow than we did in 2016 because of the difference in the changes. So great. So that answers my question. Thank you very much.
Councillor Bragg?
Thank you. Through you to Mr. Brown. The event next Thursday, is that something council should be attending, or will it be a separate time for council to provide input to your strategic planning sessions?
Ideally, I would like to see, if possible, the general public as a whole, including council. This is a great time because you can interact with the public. Because, quite frankly, policing, we cannot do it alone. The town has a responsibility as much as the public also to inform us. So it's good to have the collaborative approach where you can discuss this in the open and actually truly hear from each other, right, in an open forum. The second is the priorities and the direction is I will be relying significantly, especially on the auspices of the Police Service Act and the appropriate reporting policies. I will be relying significantly on the CPAC to provide that input, right, formally. And so the Community Police and Advisory Committee, that's their primary role. And we, as you can imagine, most deputations come from either Police Service Board through the council or from the CPAC through the council, not necessarily police directly to the council. So this gives you a great opportunity to engage the general public and also provide input.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question, Commander Brown. A group of business people in the area of Lower Main, I guess, where this side of the bridge, they employ some of their own security through the summer, and they have indicated that they would like the opportunity to input to yourself. So I didn't know the process. Would this meeting be the appropriate time? You were saying you were talking about the progress on the previous plan, but I would like to get back to them and just suggest what would be the proper process.
Absolutely, it's an open forum, and I think it's important. I really believe in transparency in how we conduct our business. So this will be the greatest, the best venue for it. In addition, keep in mind, and it's the separation between the responsibility on the general policing, and sometimes they will employ their security group to meet their special interest. So there's an obligation on the policing level, but we are not the end all to everything. And that's why even within the town, there are certain focus which will be, if they require certain focus beyond the basic policing obligations, that's why they will pay for enhancements so we can hire those people or put officers to work those extra times. So I think it's a great educational piece for the businesses to realize that's where we have true partnerships.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Thank you very much, Commander.
Thank you.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Smith and seconded by Deputy Mayor Byfolke. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the February 2017 Huronia West Police Services Board Report for information.
Thank you. Members of the committee, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor Byfolke,
In favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor.
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Mayor Smith. In favor. Councillor Stockwell,
Favor.
Chair Belanger.
In favor.
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay. Welcome, Chief Williams. How are you today?
Mick Williams.
William.
See that, I knew that would work when I hired a deputy with the last name Williams, so it confused everybody, so I will blame everything on him.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. The fire department responded to 94 calls for service in the month of March. That's our lowest call volume since April of last year. We're usually over 100 calls for service, so quiet month. There is a structure fire noted on the spreadsheet. All that was a chimney fire. It was contained to the chimney and no damage to the house. So I just wanted to mention it because it was on the spreadsheet. We did have a mutual aid call to Collingwood Monday night this week. It was with our boat. They called for our boat. There was a person that had gone out in a kayak at dusk and hadn't returned, so they were looking for them. The OPP helicopter was called in from Aurelia to assist as well. The person was located safely. They had made their way from the east end of Collingwood into the Wasaga Beach area. So they were located by family and friends that were walking the beach looking for them as well. So there was a search party of civilians and then our boat, the OPP helicopter, so that they were found safe. This afternoon, the deputy and I are attending the Communicators Awards. It's an award ceremony that they host annually for our dispatchers in the area, and they look back. We nominate a communicator to receive this award. There's also public awards involved as well, but I know there's been some members of council that have attended. It is open to council to attend. It's at 2 o'clock this afternoon at the Simcoe County Museum. And just to note, April 26th coming up, it's on a Wednesday, is the town's Health and Wellness Day. That's the one that we put on for town staff and council. We have some guest speakers and some team building challenges that the staff always find fun. So it's a good day. Lunch is provided, so you're welcome to attend. And that's all I have for today, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Byfolke and seconded by Councillor Smith. Resolved that the Community Service Section of the Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the April 2017 Fire Department report for information.
Thank you. Members of the committee, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor Byfolchi,
In favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor?
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor?
Councillor Stockwell,
Favor.
Chair Boulanger.
In favor?
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, we will now move on to the consent agenda. There's a number of items that have been pulled, but I will deal with the consent agenda first. So, moved by Councillor Stockwell and seconded by Councillor Smith. Resolved that the Community Service section of the Coordinating Committee does hereby receive the April 13th, 2017 consent agenda items 3D through 3F, and that the recommendations contained therein is adopted as amended.
Members of the committee, having heard the question,
Sir, can we just ask first which ones have been pulled? We normally would announce that first. So we know what we're
Yeah.
so we have the Wasaga Beach Stand-Up Paddleboard Festival, the Events, Facilities and Recreation Department report, the 2017 Canada Day event, and the Library Board minutes.
So we're gonna deal with those before you make the motion?
Deal with these first and then come back.
So that motion covers everything else?
Correct. Okay, having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor Byfolchi,
in favor.
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor?
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor?
Councillor Stockwell,
Favor.
Chair Boulanger.
In favor?
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay. What's that? Okay, the first item was the stand-up paddleboard festival, and I had pulled that, and it was my oh, sorry.
Thank you.
My understanding is that there's new ownership, but that this is an ongoing festival. Is that correct?
It's the same owners, so.
Oh, okay. So this is the second.
This is the second time, yeah. They
right.
did it for the first time last summer.
Okay, and last year it was a one-day event,
That's
and
correct.
they did not request sponsorship last year.
That's correct.
And this year they're moving to a two-day event and requesting $1,400 in sponsorship.
That's correct.
And I guess I would like a little more information on that expenditure. But the other comment that I wanted to make, I believe, and maybe somebody could input on this, is that the particular building they operate out of is not, it's solely owned by the operator.
It's rented by the town, or we're,
Maybe Jenny
Okay,
should
it is-
answer.
Is it?
I'm not sure about his building, I'm speaking
So
of.
the paddleboard business is operated out of a shipping container. The shipping container is the property of the town, and Mr. Maxwell has a lease with the town.
Okay, now I believe that the roof on that building is, it's more aesthetically displeasing as opposed to leaking or anything of that nature, but I believe that's a responsibility of the tenant.
That's correct, and Angela actually spoke with Ryan last night, and he's fully aware of the issue with the roof. His intention is to replace the grassy, I'm sure I'm not calling it the right name, but to replace the grassy roof with shingles over the next 3 weeks to a month. He's aware that needs to be corrected, and he will do it. He just hasn't had a chance to do it yet. He's been waiting for the weather to change.
Okay.
So that roof will now be a nice, clean shingled roof instead of the grass tiki hut look.
Yeah, well, I was going to suggest that that might be a condition to sponsorship because it is quite unsightly, but anyhow, with that said, is there any other comments or?
So, who held the item? Oh, you held the item. Okay, I have a comment.
Councillor Stockwell?
Mr. Chairman, this event of last year was, as mentioned in the report, was a one-day event. And my understanding was it was highly successful through the private sector. Then it's fine to go to 2 days. But to go to 2 days and then ask for a $1,400 sponsorship, I'll be voting against the motion based on the fact that I don't believe that we should be getting into sponsorships for that type of thing. But
$880, is that correct? Because the motion reads that it's the $1,400, so what is the difference in the two?
So it would be, we would pay out, well, the amount would be 14, less the parking, and then less the event application. So we would support them with the 880.
But we wouldn't be getting the revenues from those two items, so it equals the 14.
It would sort of offset. That's exactly.
And just to add to that a little bit, I understand why it's a little confusing. The reason the recommendation reads the way it does is because we wanted to give committee the full picture. So the sponsorship that has been requested by the event organizer is $1,400 in cash. However, taking into consideration that we are charging event fees, we need to deduct those fees from the sponsorship. So to be completely transparent with all of you, that's why the recommendation reads the $1,400. So as Kathy's just explained, after you deduct those two fees, the actual check cut from the town, should the committee agree, would be $880.
clear to me.
I think, Councillor Bray, I believe you were first.
Okay, just a question to staff through you. Is it a for-profit event? So it's private business enterprise hosting an event, and they're just looking for
Yep.
town support?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I was just going to ask.
Actually, sorry to interrupt, but Angela just mentioned that
There's no actual profit, like they're not making any money on the event this year because of the expended 2 days and whatnot. So and the like the
There's no-
registrations and
Like the proceeds don't go to charity, there's no...
but I don't believe there's any proceeds as the budget.
The budget doesn't indicate that.
Yeah,
there will be some.
exactly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
I was just going to suggest that we split it. I would hate to see the event not be approved, but there seems to be issues with the funding, so if we can split that into two votes.
Mr. Chair, that would just mean that you would just read the first part, and then if the mover and seconder are prepared to have their name stand for the second part, then you would read the second part. So do a vote on the first part.
Okay. I had one other comment as I read through this, is that it also indicated in the report that they do clinics, that they rent equipment, and of course if we're promoting and we're getting more and more people attend, that's all good, but it's also generating more income for the operator. It wasn't clear whether clinics were being offered at no charge to the public. Certainly many people that would participate in them would rent equipment to be able to participate. So I just believe there's a lot going on here that's generating increased revenue for the operator.
and they would be able to see the demonstrations. The organizer had talked about letting them try it as well. So it isn't something that you have to pay for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would be open to the public and for people to try.
Okay.
So you're going to split the vote?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll split this into two parts as per the Deputy Mayor's request, and moved by Councillor Smith and seconded by Mayor Smith. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee recommends to Council that it approve the Wasaga Beach Stand-Up Paddleboard Festival taking place Saturday, June 24th and Sunday, June 25th, 2017 at Beach Area 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor Byfolchi,
In favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor.
Councillor Smith?
In favor?
Mayor Smith?
In favor.
Councillor Stockwell?
In favor.
Chair Belanger?
In favor?
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor and 0 opposed. So that's the same.
Now, if I wanted to make a motion on a reduced sponsorship, would I do that now, or would I have to keep the chair? Sorry, I have to vacate the chair. Oh, okay. Okay, again, the second part of this, and further that council provide a sponsorship of $1,400 to help offset the cost associated with marketing of the event and race awards.
Thank you. Having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Deputy Mayor Byfolchi?
Opposed?
Councillor Bray?
Opposed?
Councillor Ego?
Opposed?
Councillor Smith?
In favor?
Mayor Smith?
Opposed?
Councillor Stockwell?
Opposed.
Councillor Blanche, or Chair Belanger?
Opposed.
Thank you. The motion is defeated on a vote of 6 opposed and 1 in favor. Thank you.
Okay, then the next item that was pulled was by Councillor Bray, Events, Facilities, and Recreation Department report.
Thank you. I pulled this because I wasn't sure who to ask, because the report was from a department, not a person. So I had a couple of different questions. The first one was about the Jazz in the Park. There was no location listed as to where that would be taking place this year, and I know it's moved historically, and I wasn't sure where its home for 2017 would be.
Absolutely. So for the 2017, we're going to keep the location in the same venues as we've done in previous years, and those would be the Oakview Woods Gazebo and the band shell out back, with rain venues being inside the Recplex at Hall 1A.
Perfect. Thank you. Second question was Wasaga's Finest Citizen of the Year ceremony.
Yes.
I know last year it was held on a Saturday, and I think some of the feedback was that it wasn't maybe the best day of the week to hold a public ceremony. And I know again it's being held on a Saturday, and I just wondered if we put into the feedback that Sunday might be more convenient for some people.
Absolutely. I think moving forward into 2018, that can be something that the events can be able to visit and take a look at.
Thank you. My final question was to do with Better Impact Solution software.
Yes.
You were going to set up online training for volunteers, and I just wondered what training we were going to be offering volunteers.
Absolutely. So Olivia Aaron, the volunteer activities programmer, has met with Fire Chief and Kelly to go over some of the online training modules that we currently have implemented with staff. So as far as witness, and I think there was a couple other training modules as well that we're going to be ensuring our volunteers have access to online to make sure that they're brought up to speed for town
Customer service.
standards. Yeah, customer service, and I think they're the harassment one as well. Yeah.
And will that be a requirement of being a volunteer?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any other comments? Thank you. So moved by Mayor Smith and seconded by Deputy Mayor Byfolchi. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the Events, Facilities, and Recreation Monthly Activity Report as information.
Thank you. Having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor Byfolchi?
In favor?
Councillor Bray?
In favor?
Councillor Ego?
In favor.
Councillor Smith?
In favor?
Mayor Smith?
In favor.
Councillor Stockwell?
In favor.
Chair Belanger?
In favor?
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, the next item that was pulled by a number of individuals, Councillor Smith, myself, Councillor Bray, and Deputy Mayor. And that was related to the 2017 Canada Day event approval.
just with the motion, I found that it was very vague. We were basically approving the 150th day event without mentioning sole sourcing, a 10 to 20 increase in the budget allocation, connections to the town, between the town and the beer garden, and road closures. And normally our motions kind of have road closures listed separately, impact to the budget. So I found the motion itself very vague, and I'd like to see more detail before we actually vote on it. The second comment relates to the VIP section, where there's some talk of a beer garden and sole sourcing and talking to service clubs. And my thoughts are that we lease as a town, through the municipality, we lease to bar owners, and I don't believe that the town should now be going into business and setting up our own beer garden to compete with those existing bars that are in place for which we hold the lease. So those are my concerns with the VIP section. Thank you.
Okay. I believe Councillor Stockwell was next. Or no, sorry, my apologies. I did
No, I think you mentioned Councillor Smith as well.
Okay,
That's fine.
sorry.
The only question I had of the recreation coordinator, Mr. Chair, was is there an expectation for booths to be there from some of the committees that we have? That I think there in the past. Is there an expectation to be booths there for them?
Booths?
Well, like tents and, an area as part of the Canada Day to celebrate some of the committees' work and what have you?
I mean, we're definitely open to looking at providing booths for different sponsors right now. That was sort of an avenue we've discussed as a fundraising committee. But some of the ideas of bringing vendors down there have been put forth as well, but we've decided to stay away from that, just with some of the implications with being landlords basically for those beachfront businesses. So I'm not sure.
No, I'm just talking about, say, library services, place for our Chamber of Commerce and the books, and maybe the fire department with their fire truck, or, similar maybe perhaps to the public meeting that we had last year with all of the town representatives there. Because it is a celebration, it might be a nice venue for our own, an area for the town people to go.
Absolutely, I think that's something we can work in. I know we've talked to I've talked to the fire chief already regarding his presence at the Canada Day event. So to reach out to the chamber and a couple other of those organizations would be something that we'd be definitely willing to complete.
Deputy Mayor?
I think some of mine have already been touched on, but I think the big one for me is competing with our own tenants. I don't know why we would single source Wasaga Brewery. Why would we not open it up to others that we are also dealing with? And I think the one comment that grabbed my attention on page 2 was that we're creating a beer garden area that would also, it would be a space for families to experience the concert and have a safe environment to consume alcohol. So I just found those two things together in one paragraph a little strange, but so those are my comments.
Thank you. Councillor Stockwell?
Mr. Chairman, we've had this before, and I spoke to it before. And at that time I said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's the 150th anniversary of Canada. We're not going to see that again. I thought that we should be supporting it to as far as we possibly could financially. When I received the report, I had some concerns. There's some loose ends, and I have a sinking feeling that there's going to be, for the amount of money we've committed to staff to do this, they're going to run out of money, and the concerns be great. I would just like to move that this matter be deferred to the Committee of the Whole, which takes place next Tuesday, and then be reporting to Council for ratification, so that we don't lose any time in getting it ratified, whether we approve it today or whether we approve it to the Committee of the Whole. And in that time, I'd like to meet with staff and maybe other council members have specific questions. But I have a number of questions that I'd like to speak. So I'd move that it be deferred to the Committee of the Whole, the next meeting of the Committee of the Whole.
Deputy Mayor.
I would totally support the councillor's suggestion, and I would ask that when it does come back, consideration be given to the fact that we don't sole source, we look at other partnerships in the community as well.
Were you talking, sorry, if I may, were you talking about the single sourcing for production?
Oh,
Is that,
sorry, not for the production. I'm speaking specifically to, it's kind of an automatic that, you know, we'd be looking at the VIP section for Wasaga Beach Brewing Company, but we do have other tenants down there that maybe they would have an interest in it as well, and they pay rent and they do all of those things. So I think that we need to not just mention the one, I think we need to open it up to more.
absolutely. I think that their potential partnership with the VIP section, they've sort of expressed interest, but we've started working on an RFP to put out to the service clubs. Through that RFP, if this is approved, we've encouraged that local beer companies be utilized for the area, so not to singly put out the city.
For the VIP tent, as I read the report, the VIP tent will be run by a service club.
Correct.
So they'll use the funds from this to put back into the community through their club. Why wouldn't why wouldn't the service club choose who runs their bar for them? I'm wondering why, if we're going to say, okay, we're going to select a service club through an RFP process or something similar to run that, but now we're going to tell them who's going to run their bar. I'm struggling with that, so can you explain that to me?
I think as far as that goes, it was more of a suggestion to keep the funds locally than anything else, right? So it wasn't telling them that they should be using a certain restaurant or brewery or anything like that. It was more asking them to consider local businesses before, you know, sourcing out to Labatt's or Budweiser or anything like that.
Mayor Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my suggestion would be, if we're going to approach service clubs via RFP or however that's going to be done, whatever service club wins the competition, they'll choose whoever they want to run their bar. They may run it themselves if they already have a license.
Councilor Gray?
Thank you. Just to follow that up, I think it's fairly assumptive to think that a service club would have the resources and the finances at this point to pull together a bar for July the 1st. I know in the past, the Rotary Club has tried to work with Blues Fest, and it's really tough for a volunteer organization to get that together. It's a very busy weekend for a lot of the service clubs doing other things. So I'd like to see the RFP opened up to both the private and the nonprofit sector, because I think there's a ton of restaurants that maybe want to do something like that. They want to be down at the beach, and that's what they do, and they do really well. The other thing in the report, if we're going back for more information, there was talk about offering free parking, and I think it's going to be a really big event. I think parking is one way to make a little bit of revenue. I think if we give it free to our residents, we're not going to get a lot of outside people coming to Wasaga Beach for a concert because there will be nowhere to park. And part of that also fits into Healthy Community Network. We've seen other examples of a parking, like a bicycle valet. So to encourage your locals to drive to an event on a bike, and you actually fence off 4 parking spots, and like a dry cleaner or a valet at a theater, you give them a ticket, you park their bicycle, and then they get home safely at the end of the event. So I think parking's probably going to have to be looked at for something of this size.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Okay, my comments have already been covered for the reason I pulled, and I certainly will support the motion put forward. So unless there's any other comments.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. I think Councillor Stockwell has proposed a new. Oh, okay. That's the motion we're dealing with?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Thank you.
talking about. We're going to read that now. So moved by Councillor Stockwell and seconded by Councillor Eagle that 2017 candidate event approval be it resolved that the coordinated committee refer it to item DI, 2017 Canada Day event approval, to the Committee of the Whole meeting on April 18th.
committee. Having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor Byfolchi,
In favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor?
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Councillor Stockwell,
Favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor?
Chair Boulanger.
In favor.
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
The next item was library board minutes, and that was pulled by Councillor Bray.
It was. I just wanted to draw attention to the 2006 year in review. I know this is part of the agenda and it will be available to the public, but I think it really highlights the wonderful things that the library does do for our community. It's a fairly small building in terms of libraries, and there was 54,000 plus visitors through the door last year. They talk about the events for seniors, the number of items borrowed, the number of new members. So in 1 year, there was 841 new members. So for all the people that aren't sure what our library does, I encourage them to go through the door and investigate, because it really is a happening place. So kudos to Jackie and her team.
Thank you. Please congratulate them at the next committee meeting, because that's an excellent document. Moved by Councillor Stockwell and seconded by Councillor Smith. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinating Committee received the February 2017 Library Board minutes for information.
Thank you. Having heard the question, I'll call for the vote. Deputy Mayor
In
Byfolchi,
favor?
Councillor Bray,
In favor?
Councillor Ego,
In favor?
Councillor Smith,
In favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor?
Councillor Stockwell,
Favor.
Chair Boulanger.
In favor?
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, at this time, we're going to take a 10-minute recess.